Consulate. So, having a look at EG and their second half of the season so far, they lost to DZ 7-4 on Consulate, and they lost to Luminosity Gaming 7-5 on Consulate. So, this is not a good map for EG at all. This has not been a good map, but from Shrug's side, they've only played Consulate once, and that was in their very first playday of Challenger League against Rise, in which it ended at a draw at 6-6.
Well, this time Shrug are going to be the ones that take Jackal off the board, and you know, I guess we'll see how EG want to take this, because as you said, it's historically not been a fantastic map for them on the recent swing of things, and this is when they've got to be able to, well, got to try to pull out the stops, because you've got to find a way to swing your way past a team like this. If you're struggling, and no offense to Shrug, but if you're struggling against a CL team that's already struggled at the minute statistically, and then you're going to potentially be playing some big teams that have had much better seasons, you kind of want to see that first half season EG.
A few members of Shrug tweeting out as well, just during the interim period of that, saying that they didn't even want to play this game, they just want to get this over with, and they accidentally won the first map. So, going into our second map here, ooh,
wow.
I think that's a target ban against Necrox, and I think EG's ban of Capitao is a target ban against Cloudstruck, because EG normally ban a Maestro for their defense here, and Shrug haven't really used Maestro effectively during their defense. In fact, a lot of the time Maestro was getting insta-picked on like both sides. So we'll have a look at what things are going to be going down. It's be console office and meeting room defense here to start with here. Shrug are going to start with the defense, and EG have definitely changed up their strategy a little bit, because actually in the past they have banned Nomad here on Consulate.
Well, one of the questions that I have that's immediately been answered by Flynn is Valkyrie. Now, I always generally say she's a very, very good ban on this map, as do a lot of teams, especially in the EU region. She's normally an insta-ban on Consulate. Big 4 flat walls mean that any kind of information run-out game is, well, second to none. We also know Flynn is a very good Valk player, has the ability to get those cameras, and that information was a big part of their previous round, so might become a little bit of a nightmare as time goes on. It's going to force MVK, or, well, any member of EG, to play IQ every single round.
I think also Shrug weren't quite expecting the IQ pick, potentially, and they've actually moved to a Pulse here from Mexican as well. So, interesting stick picks coming out here as well. I do like a bit of stick pick. I think that's a decent layer of strategy, and we'll see how that is going to be going down. I think the big question mark here, though, is the Rug.
It depends. I mean, on this top floor point, you can hold it quite aggressively against Long Desk. In fact, it's the mainly seen hold in EU, is you kind of expect the admin push, you take it with a long firefight across Long Desk and across the center of the room, and you don't allow them to move around. In NA, from what we've seen, generally it's more consistently they try and take control of yellow side, they try and take control of yellow stairs, and it seems like this Rook is going to potentially play into the aggression that the amount of information it offers. So yes, Valkyrie, as I've already said, fantastic information up, gets all the outside. Pulse as well. This is the only map out of all of the entire Rainbow play pool where if you go to the observer cam and go all the way to the top, you get the entire map inside the top-down view. It's the only map that allows that, and it plays well into Pulse. As you can see, just from standing on one side, he can get pretty much an entire push and feed that information to the rest of a team without really having to move side to side too far.
I think mainly the Rook is here for the impacts and like going for those aggressive rounds, because he is playing downstairs with the Pulse and he should be able to play off of the info here. I think it's less about playing aggressively, as you said, and it's more about kind of just having impacts so you can just quick go for runouts. But Lion Charge already going to go off early on, so these Shrug are now going to be like, oh, they did actually bring that Lion and they didn't stick pick it.
Yep, and now they've got to see if they can find a way to make it work. In the meantime, admin is being taken control of by EG as they crack open the long angle to be able to try and find a way across. The Nomad is going to be a big part of actually just trying to keep a bit of a beat on the control of this map, because there's so many places to rotate, quickly as well. You've got to be able to have some solidity. Not loading is going to slowly creep around the corner here with this big Alder and see if he can find someone that gets a little bit overzealous on the rotate. But so far, EG, as we said, they're a very good drone team, a very good information team, and now that they know that the Pulse is below, they're going to not waste some time. Wraths is the first to be taken off the table, and the Lion is going to double down on the push below as we find ourselves watching Necrox creep up to Connector. And otherwise, yeah, they're just trying to shut down the Pulse with the IQ, getting his heartbeat, getting his information, and, well, being ready to blow his head out.
This is great amount of info coming out from EG so far, and they should know that Mexican, of course, is down here and is pulsing them all out. He's actually going to go for a C4 play right now, and he's actually going to catch NVK. That's IQ off the board. What a mistake from MVK there, as the refrag should start to come through here sooner rather than later. And there we go. It is going to be sooner here, as Geo is going to take Mexican off the board, but honestly, a very, very worthwhile trade. However, Maestro peeking out onto long desk is going to take it down. Flynn is going to trade it out, and that's the line down off the board. Flynn playing clear, aggressively here. Has no nitro, but it's not going to remain in any kind of way, as Flynn is going to get taken down. It's all going to be down to CloudStruck on the Rook to try and bring this in. No impacts remaining and no life remaining as EG take round number 1. Very well done to this team.
Well, it was a good amount of control, but their attacks was where we saw them at their best. They were able to drone, able to find all the plays, the positions, and then from then on close down, and Shrug's defense seemed a little bit separate at that point. Obviously, Pulse was kind of cut off completely down in the basement there, and it was just a matter of having the shoulder cover. Great bit of C4 to drop the IQ, who had all the information on the world and your positions, but in that point, you've also got another body there, and that's something that they do very, very well. In the meantime, I guess what we're trying to expect and hope a bit from Shrug is a little bit more of the kind of active combination. At the very beginning, we saw the double up of the Pulse and the Doc. We saw them having that potential duo ship across the map to get some control, get some information, get some bodies, but then it separated. Whatever happened, happened. They ended up on different places on the map, and EG was so good at being able to just get in between that, get in the middle, pick them off one at a time, and then, well, find themselves now just taking apart the point.
I like the bulletproof from Mexican there, just in the corner of the circle desk to be able to see a decent amount of the site, and is also going to see all of the normal fun spots here on Consulate Lobby and pressure room defense, which is a very interesting site for them to want to go to. And I think as well, just like looking at that last round, the big reason why I think Shrug lost table, a bit
yeah, that was,
there.
That was a ghost. Halloween.
I think that the main reason, like, kind of going back to what we said on Clubhouse, is if EG are allowed their entire utility setup and they're allowed like everything early on, then their execute is flawless.
Yeah. And that, it's always the hard thing about it, is how do you start taking this apart? Is this going to work, a spawn peak? And no, unfortunately the answer is no. Young takes a little bit of damage, but it's hard against a team that we know pre-places drones very well. It's hard against a team that is this active and aware, and I think so far they've not been successful across the 2 maps that we've seen and the rounds at picking a body apart before they get close, but they've been close.
Yeah, no, they have definitely been close, and we'll have a look. Mexican is going to be playing this very aggressive angle up onto admin to see what he can do here. As NVK with the upside down rappel, waiting for the drones to come in and confirm he is indeed clear to jump in. But Mexican should be able to find him, but almost just barely missing the shots here, and that seems to be the story for Mexican so far on this round.
Well, setting themselves up and swinging in for another admin clear, as they did so well previously. Almost a book out of EU's Asterix Empire's playbook there, as it is their standard hold. And the Lion is going to double down and see if they can tie that in with some aggression. Necrox is playing just under the window and is concerned about the run-up, but with Nomads in your hand and air jabs to control, that shouldn't be the biggest problem. The big change here is obviously the roam game. They've kind of left it eschew, and they're just going to try and shepherd enough space to be able to get in and get the diffuser down, and well, hopefully bait the Shrug players into their own firefights. But with the Valkyrie underneath with the C4, the potential of Mozzie doing the same thing against this window as it gets tossed and it gets blown, but it does not catch. The second E1D goes off, and CloudStruck is the first victim, with Mexican finding the refrag.
Yeah, MVK is going to try and push up onto Connect to see what he can do here. There's actually a lot of control right now for EG, and they could also repel up onto console. That's exactly what Necrox is going to be doing. Nitro is going to go out, but it's going to miss, as no, NVK is going to move in and gets taken down by Raft, but instantly does get traded himself by Necrox on the console repel. So Shrug is going to find themselves in a 2v3 here, as Mexican and not loading are the only ones remaining, but with time on their side actually now ticking down, but EG do have that upstairs control into projecting. You can see how spread out they are as well to try and attack from multiple angles here. Geo completely cutting off the benches rotate as well, as Necrox moving up onto the piano windows and seeing what he can do, waiting for the aggressive push. It looks like they're just about ready to go for their execute.
The long firefights from the big barrels left on the side of the defense are trying to just keep EG at arm's length, and this could be the turn as we find them very separated. They've struggled, and they're finally burning ADSs, getting the default cam down, and going to try and stick the plant where they were spotted. At this point, the spots are still coming hot and fast, and Mexican is taken down and out by the long cover on the backside, and there is the second, as they just find their way in point. The baiting game that Shrug were trying to play there and trying to, as I said, hold EG away, unfortunately came to bite them back in the butt a little bit because they just couldn't find themselves grouped together.
Great execute from EG as well. That's kind of like how you execute without smokes. You just cut off all the possible positions that Shrug can run at you from. They had Geo playing that long angle all the way from Visa to cut off the benches push, and then they had Necrox playing very, very close by. Also something to mention that I think that Necrox, when he was outside of console, he didn't go on that rappel and he just stays down because, yeah, as you said, he is worried about that jump out. But the thing about the air jabs is they don't detonate if someone is in midair. They only detonate if they're on the floor.
Yeah.
So if Necrox had repelled earlier on and he got jumped out on, he probably would have lost the fight and then the air jab would have gone off. So you've got to be very, very wary, and that does show like how Necrox does know what's going on there and what he should do there. So really, really good players coming out already from EG. Shrug actually almost managed to bring that in, but again, they're letting EG get so much control so early on, and we haven't seen them be too aggressive against them so far.
Attackers need to locate and
That's it,
defuse
and this is
bombs.
the same kind of play pace that we saw them have before on the previous map, and it's working in their favor so far, but if they don't find a bit of the aggression when they swap to their attacks, well, we could start to see Shrug bring some of these rounds back. Still setting themselves up with the, well, 3 ACOGs at this point. Both French have shown up, as well as the Maestro, to try and hold some control, and they're going to set the mid-tier kind of reinforcements down, but it doesn't seem like they're throwing anything in terms of the information game that we've seen them bring so far in the Pulse and the Valk, opting instead for a little bit of the portability that a Mozzie offers alongside the, well, steady and true gun and camera combination that the Maestro has been so consistent so far. Here is more spawn peeking, more attempts at some aggression, potentially just prepping the run out here and seeing, I guess, if they can find anyone on their journey towards it. But, you know, this is the tactic that, well, they've decided to opt for pretty repeatedly, and there's the double down, seeing if they can find something, and they do! Mo Digger is the one that suffers in and amongst that, even having all of the attention and the know and the wherewithal to see it coming. Can't win against the Doc.
Remember, it's Mexican, not Mexicannot, and he is going to be able to take Mo Digger early off the board. You didn't like that one? I thought it was good. I was saving that.
No, I'm glad you did. Well, there's those jump outs we talked about before, and they're coming full and aggressive now. Geo finds 2, and he's able to at least bring a bit of a balance back, but Wraths is quick to swing that the other way. On the far side, they've just got to aggressively push in the point, and they've quickly realized that nobody is on this close side, so... Well, apart from the Mozzie, who rotates Zach through a close hole, it's just down to the Thermite at this point, who does find it! A triple kill out of nowhere! Tests the crouch key, but with all the aggression he suffered, he responded with more.
Young is just insane. He's pulled off clutches like that before on the frag bite. The heavy support of Young brings it in for a triple kill and brings in the round to what looked like almost certainly an EG defeat, because as I said before, I would love to see Shrug play this series a little bit more aggressively, and you can already see they brought 3 ACOGs to the board, and I think this is exactly what Shrug needs to do. They need to put numbers, or at least even numbers, and they need to be starting affecting this utility for EG, because if they're allowed to use their setup, if they're allowed to put numbers up on the board, it's just going to go really, really badly for Shrug. They cannot play this passively. It is going to be another garage defense that was almost very, very successful, but Young just cannot be stopped on the fragmite.
Well, their 3 ACOGs worked in the previous round to the degree that they wanted it to. They were aggressive and repeatedly looking for more of those windows and more of those early picks. This time they played the bait and switch, gunned a bit of the Maestro, drew some attention to the bottom of yellow, and then from that point onwards, the pre-paired window was jumped out on. There was also the other prepared window as well that was utilized, and then they ended up actually rotating to another window. So they are keeping all of their options open in terms of how they can aggressively attack this map. And this is one of the things that we pointed out at the very beginning that this map plays into. Those big, long walls, long sides, not really anything else like this rectangle of, well, offices and vans. And it's so far playing in the favor of them in terms of respond to EG. Take some bullets, take some damage, take a body out with a throw out. But if you're throwing a life like that, hey, it might just come to fruition.
Mexican again, just gonna go for the spawn peek. It's been successful before, and we'll see exactly how successful it's going to be this time. But I think EG at this point have really got to be wizened up to the kind of very aggressive play they should expect from Shrug. We might see a lot slower play from EG here. They have got the Nomad still up on the board, of course. Mexican still playing very patiently. He's still convinced that someone is over there, and he will be correct in that. But no, he's going to move off before anything can happen there. Drones are going to take it off the board by Shrug, as Flynn's back on his roll as Legion.
Well, it's slowed down a little bit for the moment, and I only say for the moment because, well, we saw how the previous round went, and I think it's only a matter of time before we find ourselves kicking the nos on yet again. Opening up steadily against windows and keeping an eye on any potential runouts that may happen again. They're making sure that they don't suffer the same fate as the first E1D pops off, and you can see them clear and charge on the opposite side of the building on the tops of your screen. They're making sure that this top floor is theirs, and then they're going to start to put pressure against the yellow side stairs, with MVK of Ash leading the way. Sees the first body, but doesn't take the frag as they get taken out by Flynn, who's just going to rotate out. A fair decision because he knows that EG are very good at collapsing and closing down, and well, Necrox is now above where he was, but he is in safety and has the ability to find a second flank.
So if they just keep Flynn on Legion, they just keep winning rounds. It was the first time they won a defense round on Clubhouse is when Flynn was on Legion, so I think it's the play. I think this is the strategy they should be going for. Flynn almost instantly being destroyed, but it's going to pick up the injury kill up here as well, as being able to waste plenty of time up in Antechamber. That's exactly the early pick that they needed. Wrath is going to play very aggressively here onto the Visa stairs, but opting out of it just so far. But this is still a very spread out defense coming up from Shrug, but it should allow them to waste quite a lot of time.
Yeah, they have obviously the bodies in piano, but Flynn is refusing to let their bodies stay warm-blooded. Taking as many out as possible and having Geo slowed by the Legion traps on the far side of stairs. Again, he's on half health at this point, but he's already taken out the Ash and the Zephyr. There's still some utility on the board, but it's not quite the soft destruction they would want to get vertical, and they've only got 45 seconds, so the bodies are going to have to start peeling and peering down onto point. Happy Geo finds Cloudstruck and takes him out of the equation, and they've got the main wall of garage open, but they still haven't got comfort on the top floor, and there's Flynn finding a third for the round as Mexican gets it down to just Necrox versus a 4-stack, and with 20 seconds on, unfortunately, can't replicate what Young did in the previous round.
Yeah, Shrug just dominating that round, especially Flynn with a great early picks coming out, and then him with a 3k Legion. It's just the way to go. I think, honestly, this is exactly what Shrug should be doing. They should be playing aggressively, they should be annoying on these rotates, and it's a kind of shoot and dash, and that's kind of what Flynn was doing throughout quite a lot of that round, and he was able to kind of minimize all the control that EG was getting early on. I think this is exactly the way that Shrug should be playing the series right now, and I'm glad that it's starting to work for them a little bit more. Moving into round number 5, though, I think that Shrug desperately need both of these rounds, or else they don't really stand a chance once he comes to that attack. We'll have a look how that is going to be going down, but we've already seen now Shrug has found out the series that they find out the play that works for them, and that is putting Flynn on the Legion.
6th pick to a clash from the Alibi is an interesting decision. I guess we'll see where they decide to put her. First time that she's generally been bought by obviously on this map so far, but second time we've seen her bought today, and I guess, you know, it's always a curious decision when you see Clash, especially on a map like this where she's lesser seen. Obviously, potentially going to use her to control either a side, but at the same time, what side do you choose? You're assuming that the windows on A point are going to be broken up, and probably the windows on the B point. You're assuming to suffer some pressure from admin lobby, and often you suffer it from yellow stairs as well. There's so many different angles and different attitudes to how you can break through here that you kind of have to work out the balance of where the walking mirror window goes and what guns you want to put behind it, because for the first time they've opted to only bring one ACOG.
Yeah, that's true. Although, you know, I just think Flynn Legion, that's just the way forward. I will not be convinced.
Is that caster bias?
It's
but
like
you're biased
bias
for just the caster?
Yes.
Yeah,
it would
okay.
seem that
That's
way.
fine.
But already, Mexican, that one ACOG that is remaining is already getting taken off the board. That early spawn peak not going well for him at all. And we're already going to turn ourselves into 5v4 EG, finding that early man advantage. And They're just going to go for their normal push, it looks like. They're not too bothered about what's going on, but Young now on the Habana should open up that kind of admin to project the take.
Well, they want to keep their slow and steady going as they've done it so well before, but with a body off the table, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Flynn is trying to find some early information on the windows with a gun that has so far been true in his hands, is very fair to say, but at that point, when you're already one body off and you know EG are very good at trades, they want to try and find a way to balance this man advantage faster than, well, they need to. E1D pops off, but nothing really comes of it. There's the immediate pressure and the spots coming out on the side of Valkyrie, and she's just going to opt to head out of there. Because as we said about this map, there's so many windows, so many cross angles, and so many nightmare possibilities. Why throw your life away? The decision they've done with the Clash's admin office, they're going to try and hold that down, because as we've seen, EG have been consistent on that so far, and now EG are opting for a plan B. Quick movements and quick footprints are getting themselves on the lobby side, they're getting the circle stairs covered, and they're heading over to the top, potentially going to try and find themselves against the B point as Geo finds another, but Flynn brings one back to his favor.
Yeah, 4v3, but EG don't really have as much control as otherwise they might be happy with, as E1D is going to go out, hold all the defenders in place for just a second. And Shrug just has so many Legion mines stacked up on the side of the admin side. It looks like EG mainly going for a console take now as they've moved everyone through onto the west side of the building. So Flynn still holding on to Projector, however, as Shrug moves up, and he's going to be able to retake yellow, it looks like, as we go, MVK on the IQ is going to be able to move up the yellow. Lion is going to go out. That's going to stop anyone from peeking from behind the Clash more importantly as well. As EG rotate their entire push to try and deal with this Clash, and Zofia charges are going to go out. Shrug takes a lot of damage, but isn't going to go down just yet. And NVK is just taking huge amounts of damage. He can't get control of yellow, and if they can't get control of yellow, they cannot do that console take.
Well, they're getting a little bit panicked now, swinging the bodies up round, but Wraths is there to answer and takes the Nomad out of the equation. They've got to generally just hard swing in onto the point itself because they cannot find a way to stop the Clash unless she does that. Charges them with the shield down and tries to get the kill. Wraths is the only one left at this point. They hard swing in, get the bodies on the point, get the diffuser down, and they completely let that slip through their fingers. Wraths, an amazing game on the previous map and found bodies on this so far has found one. But unfortunately, there's so much more left to do. A couple of questions I have for the decision of the Clash there.
Yeah, that was, I think it was kind of just high risk, high reward. Like, he knows he has to play aggressively here because he knows they're going to get console control anyway. So he knows he's going to have to try, and if he can get that kill into NVK, that will win them the round. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to do so. And as we push into round number 6, things are looking desperate for Shrug right now. They desperately needed those 2 rounds. If they can keep this round, I think they still keep them in the play. But if they lose at 5-1, I think we basically call the map over at that point. Like, most teams would call the map over. But, you know, maybe we'll see more successful from attack as well. I mean, there's still a lot of utility of this line push has been pretty effective from EG so far.
Well, after this, we do head to Coastline as well, which is, as we said, if EG pull this off, it's a bit of a bitter battle kind of map, but it does play well into Shrug's history at least, so they have that on their favor. In the meantime, Lion has been a pretty big staple of their rounds this time, and it's kind of keeping a control on some of the aggression that we've otherwise seen. Gonna bring the Clash back, as well as find Maestro's feet back inside the lineup, so another ACOG is back on the board, and I guess we'll see how they decide to keep the aggression, because yes, Mexican has been trying it every single round. And it's worked once. It has worked once. They've been able to find the body, and has been the opening death only once in his defense, but sometimes it's just been the other ACOGs that suffer first. And I'm thinking of, you know, how they're going to keep this roll up. Maybe if they double the ACOG with the Clash on that front door. Maybe if they find another way to lean into the leaning in that they want to do. There's just plan Bs, and I'm wondering if they might be able to try them on their final defense round here.
True. We'll have a look and exactly what Shrug want to do here, but from them, they seem pretty content with their lineup from last time. And honestly, you know, it was working for them at the start, but hopefully Mexican doesn't get spawn peaked, well, reverse spawn peaked, you could say, this time. But it's going to be loading this time, taking off the board instantly.
Well, the nice shots come out in chat, and now it's just a matter of, again, a kind of bit of a stare down with any and all of these windows, making sure that they don't suffer the same fate. NVK is wasting no time and pace with this Ashe. Clash is currently upstairs by herself, holding into admin, and there is someone on the opposite side that's rotating closer, but, you know, it shows just Well, they're still trying to work out how they want to play her and maybe just complete control of the top floor. Wraths is ready to double up with the Clash. She's actually pulled off down to the bottom of service stairs and is just going to try and hold the information as she can, and now try and hold the angle alongside. But with NVK coming closer and closer, it's going to be down to the Jaeger to respond from the rest of top floor.
Wrath playing very aggressively off the disconnected window. And see exactly what is going on downstairs. EG with plenty of work to do here still, as line charge is going to go out, and they're just going to rush straight into sight. And they're going to be the panicking as Young does go for the plan of the diffuser. NVK moving all the way up to take down Wrath as well. As Young is planting down the diffuser, Geo moves into benches, takes down Flynn. And now all of a sudden it's all down to Mexican and Clashrook to try and bring this in. But this isn't looking good. You're in a post plant and the Lion is still up. And I believe we're still one more Lion charge as well. As Mexican desperately trying to deal out, but not able to get the kill just yet. And VK picks him up for free. And it's all down to Clashrook to do all the work in a 1v5. Geo very, very low, just bottom yellow here, but the diffuser is doing its work.
Well, Clash, you found yourself with a lot of isolated time upstairs, and unfortunately none of the time in the world now. As you walk down and try and zap, you're well aware it's a crossfire and a barbed wire and a whole mess of hellfire that you've got to go through with flawless for the first time on this map today. NVK
he's just been sprinting around the entire map, just picking up freebies where he could. I think he went from bottom yellow through benches, back up spiral, and went back through that way. He's just picking up kills all across the board. Him playing on Ash is doing the work here in that round, but yeah, things not looking too good for Shrug all of a sudden. 5-1, and this round is going to just define how the rest of this map is going to go down, because if they cannot win this round decisively, then I think it's just over. I think they can't bring in the map and we're going to be going to Coastline, but we'll have a look how it's going to be going down so far as we move to round number 7. It's going to be Shrug's first attack, but also EG's first defense. And despite the fact they banned Mirror on Club, they are going to be bringing Mirror here.
The thing about Mirror on Consular is there's much better operators to ban. Normally, yes, Mirror can be a really good operator, and you can play her in fun ways on certain points, but mainly just this basement point, where you either put her towards the kind of central hold behind White Van and have the angles that way. We saw some outstanding play from Leon Gids holding above as well with the Mirror, doubled down and kept it aggressive, which, you know, was something that we've said was kind of missing from the previous EG runs. But on the top floor, it's easy to kind of pull apart because the sides are windows. Lobby as well, there's not really a nice angle against Lobby, the standard plant point, because you just get vertical anyway. So there's other bans to bring, and I think this is only really the main point where she can properly shine on.
Yeah, especially if they do want to do a bathroom hold, it's kind of looking that way with the way the reinforcements have gone down, because they put quite a lot of reinforcements in that bathroom area upstairs, and I would expect to see at least one mirror window up there. But we do see actually the Twitch coming out from Mexican here yet again. He did bring it earlier during Clubhouse a little bit. Let's have a look if it's successful here. I actually quite like a Twitch here, because there is that drone hole that does go directly into bathroom, and I think it could be potentially easy to get this mirror window.
Yeah, and they have the option to rotate, and it looks like obviously they're just going to leave it to NVK on Vigil, but not loading instantly finds Mo Digger. And from that point onwards, they're not wasting any time. Again, one of the big compliments of Shrug was the pace, and they are swinging all into that. Here's the second as NVK suffers a fate, and now they have all the bodies from the floors above. It's just the 3 anchors left, and that's within the opening 30 seconds. Cracking open the wall with, well, slightly better tenacity than we've seen on a recent USN game, and now it's just a matter of finding their way inside to the point with complete piano control. However, well, this is just par for the course.
Habana Charge is arguably indeed going to be doing the work, but that means that Habana Charge can't go on into deep, and that mirror window is not going to be able to find in security room, but loading is going to start to do the work and just emptying bullet after bullet after bullet back into that kitchen side. But oh my god, there's just quick pick coming out here from Cloudstruck as he moves all the way back in, as Ras can pick up one of his own. Necrox has it all to do here on the mute. He finds one, but doesn't find any more. Mexican finds him. It's going to be Shrug who takes round number 7, and that is exactly what I wanted to see from them.
aggression, it was pace, it was aggression, it was tenacity, and it was everything that we complimented them massively in the previous round, because they were repeated in doing that and repeated in being able to find their way through EG players. And it just seems like at those times EG are caught a little bit unaware and a little bit half-hearted, because as we said, when they're at their best, outside of obviously what the Ash had been doing in the previous round, just running around having a fun time, it's there, set up and execute, set up and execute. It's a two-step program, the Evil Geniuses program, that you can sign up for, and, well, Shrug hate waiting for that second step, and they just keep aggressively hitting the first one of push, push, push. Wow, and they're finding some pretty good results. Console, we're going to swing up to. They're not going to attempt the cafe hold again. And with the slew of information operators in Valk, Mozzie, and Maestro, I'm assuming to see a lot more mobility from their defense.
Also just C4s, right? I think we've seen that quite a lot from EG and from Shrug as well. You have 3 C4s up on the board, and it can be really, really, really powerful up onto this bottom floor defense. You also have just shit to build. You have the Deagle, you have the Super Shorty coming out from the Mozzie, and of course the main shotgun coming out from Necrox, who I think he just loves those SAS operators because his smoke was banned. Now he's having to play the mute.
Yeah, Necrox is, you know, he can just work those UK gun set, and the thing about it is you have to have belief in those guns.
You do.
If you don't believe in the shotgun, the SAS shotgun, it just doesn't work.
I assume Necrox has a little shrine to himself and to the shotgun itself.
I was going to say, to himself or to the shotgun?
To himself and the shotgun.
Okay.
And you know, he just praises it.
Is that official EG merch that you can buy?
I hope so.
A little Necrox shrine.
But we'll get into round number 8 and see exactly how this is going to be going down. Shrug were moving very aggressively, and I actually really like the Dokkaebi pick here as well, because the Dokkaebi could also bring smokes here. She's not going to be bringing smokes this time, but Dokkaebi pick I think is also very, very good here for the way that Shrug has been playing very aggressively to try and get that early control, and that Logic Bomb should be able to do just that for them. It's also a bit of a counter to Maestro and Valkyrie.
Yeah, and obviously with the way that we've seen EG playing, it just kind of gives themselves a little bit more of a foot to put forward. Geo, doubling down with the Mozzie and MVK and finding themselves with more aggression is going to be something that could play very, very big into the hands of EG at this point. It depends how dedicated they are to the cause of trying to hold the angle, hold the roam, and, well, just hold Shrug at bay and keep their energy away from the diffuser and the ability to plant it on point. In the meantime, Wraths is putting as much destruction on the board below as possible, but we've got to think this time, last time, they'd already found 2 bodies and, well, 70% of the control of the map. So this is weirdly saying a much slower pace than we saw in the previous point, and it just shows that EG have made it that little bit harder for them.
I actually really like the way that Shrug is pushing this right now, recognizing the very heavy Nitro strategy coming up from EG, and just purely going below and just getting that control very, very early on, allowing them to hold it down, allowing them to hold the staircases, and then go for their push on the main side. But EG is responding quite well. They've just moved every one of their roamers up above instead, and they're going to play the Nitro long angles instead of that. Potentially peeking this out aggressively, but actually I think this is mainly going to start to go into the favor of Shrug right now, as they do have a lot of control. Flynn, of course, has that diffuser, and is going to kick off with a Wrath opening kill, immediately traded out by Necrox Nitro.
Well, that's twice in a row. Modigga has been the first body to suffer the first fate, and Necrox and Young bring some more bodies down to join him in the afterlife. NVK puts it down to a 4 versus 1, leaving only Cloudstruck. Yet again, though at least this time has more than just a clash shield in hand and can potentially do something with it. With a minute on, and, well, EG still looming above in a menacing fashion against drop-downs that have otherwise been pretty damaged. You know, they find themselves in a bit of a tough fight. And this is exactly what we kind of wanted to see from EG. A bit of a response, a bit of a reaction, and a bit of control. Beautiful take there against NVK in the reverse vertical play. But from this point onwards, again, with 30 seconds on and, well, still a huge amount to do, he's got to start making his way up those nightmarish stairs.
Yeah, he's going to be in 1v3 here. Only 20 seconds left to go on the clock. He does have Zofia charges still up. He's going to see if anyone is at top yellow waiting for him. He's actually going to stun himself, unfortunately. That's not looking good at all. Yeah, no utility left remaining. Goes into some breach charges, and yeah, it's not going to end well for him at all. Evil Geniuses will take round number 8, and things looking very, very good for them indeed as they move to match point. But Shrug is still in this, I think, honestly, and I think that the next time if they attack there, if we get that far, I think they'll be able to just move it out a little bit better, because honestly, if they just, I think it was just mostly about those opening gunfights. I mean, we saw Raph get that opening pick, and generally, we tend to see whoever gets the opening pick of the round generally tends to win the round. So it's kind of weird to see that they weren't able to capitalize on that opening pick, and a lot of it didn't even seem like the fact that they couldn't get in sight or anything like that, or they couldn't get control, because they had that control downstairs very early on, and trying to play long angles with nitros is very, very, very difficult. The mute had already used his nitro up onto that yellow stairs, and I feel that the fact they couldn't trade that mute gave them a lot of issues there. They didn't have Dokubi nade, so really there shouldn't be any reason why that couldn't have happened.
Cafe and Garage, we're going to opt to swing to again. And the same lineup that we generally saw from EG before, with the mirror potentially going to set themselves up with some angles above. The only major change at this point is Vigil is gone and swapped out. I guess we'll see if MVK can make some more, well, make something work on the side of the Legion. Modiga playing the Bandit as well. You're going to assume it's going to be a bit closer to the wall and potentially a bit closer to the point, but hey, he was the first body off previously, and I guess we'll see if EG can just keep a little bit more control of what was a very swift Shrug blow through the building.
I mean, this was, yeah, as you just said, it was a very, very swift blow. He just got complete control very, very early on in the garage area. They let EG play defensively, and they just completely rolled all over them. I'm wondering, like, from EG's perspective now, because they do have 3 nitros yet again up on the board. I'm assuming the Bandit has also brought the nitro as well. Yeah, he has. So, because of the amount of nitros up that they have on the board, they'll probably be able to affect a lot of this vertical play coming out from Shrug, because last time they had, I think it was 3 people taking over control of Piano, and then everyone kind of just rushed down Spiral and Yellow, and they managed to get a lot of control. Hopefully that doesn't happen this time, and EG have kind of learned what happened, but Shrug, they're already in the building.
They're in the building. There's 30 seconds on at this point. Previously, they had 2 bodies, so again, weird. It's the slower pace, but still, look at EG. They're playing this 5 down. They want to keep everything on the basement floor. As he said, they've got the nitro capabilities to blow themselves back upwards. They've got some of the information from the Maestro, the Mirror, and the early pops on Legions, but otherwise, that is the entire wall handed over. And that is a big swing in the favor of Shrug, so they've really got to trust the back lines that EG has created on this floor to be able to hold this fight if they want to give this much land. Pulled themselves back into the cafeteria and pulled themselves back, and they're going to watch it over with the 2 Maestros and see if they can get the quick plant. And Young is behind the mirror window as well, with Modiga keeping the very back flank covered and ready to rotate from Archives. The long angles are being popped, and they get the Maestro cam out from underneath, which is a very big take.
That's crazy. He actually turned around the Maestro cam as the EMP had gone down. He managed to save it. So really good work from Geo there, as we do see above control going into the favor of CloudStruck. You should be able to see exactly what's going on here. Drones going deep into the site as well. EG have completely abandoned this site, it looks like right now, as Raph looking to try and drop down Archives, but he's going to have a man waiting for him there. But Flynn's actually going to start to plant the diffuser, loading to Claymore finds 1, but Raph is going to get taken down. It's Mexican trying to desperately plant this diffuser. It is going to go down successfully, but it's all down to Flynn and CloudStruck to bring this in. Flynn with a great pre-fire is going to take 1 off the board, but instantly getting traded out by Geo. CloudStruck above to try and hold onto it. Bandit still has that nitro available. So CloudStruck is going to get flanked as well. Oh no, doesn't see the Bandit as Geo goes for the counter defuse. The Bandit just trying to trick him out here. No, it's not going to work out too well at all. As Geo gets off that defuse, takes down CloudStruck, and it's going to be EG as they take the map 7-2.
Wow, that's an EG that I think we're all more familiar with seeing, and Shrug had some good moments and got the diffuser down in tight situations, but otherwise couldn't quite find the round swing that they did on the first map. It's a best of 3 though. We're not over, we've still got 1 more map on the board, and it's Coastline, so expect some violence and expect some lovely Spanish music as we will head there after a couple more adverts. We'll see you very soon.